Hi, it's Wednesday, June 24th. We're going to talk about watering in the deep mulch today.
When we initially set up the garden, we talked about not going too close to the edge, mainly because the mulch breaks down pretty quickly and you're adding a lot. The thing I did not take into consideration was how fast the edges dry out. One of the things we liked about the deep mulch was you don't have to water a lot even in the summer. But you also have to pay attention to what your plants are telling you. When you let the edges dry out, they will suffer. And the spaghetti squash is doing just fine inside the mulchaways.
When we planted the peas, it was in the newest part of the garden. The mulch was pretty thick. Didn't think anything about it. Now, in the summer, see, this is the kind of soil that we started with before we started mulching. You're right, I let it dry out. You're right, it's my fault. I was thinking the deep mulch would be okay all the way to the end. I broke my rule. I know, it's bad. It's just dry. So what if we take the hose and water the edge? Would that work? I know it's hot. Look, I'm telling you, it's dry. I'm telling you, it's dry. Talked about not planting too close to the edge. The last couple days I've had a hose out here. Everything on the edge had dried out. When we had that hot wind the other day, I let the peas die. I just didn't water them. I didn't think about it. There is no come on, let's plant this stuff.
I just let the peas dry out. Once I got some water on them, we got a couple that haven't completely given up the ghost, but that was completely my fault. Now the tomatoes, which are into the mulch a good 10 feet, and if you remember how we planted them, their roots are down at least a foot, and now they've been growing. They have no problem accessing water. So they're doing just fine, they're thriving. Back of the garden, where we added a couple cucumbers, you can tell how light green they are. They were wilty. Even in that far, it had dried up. So we made sure we watered those, made sure the beans had enough water. I replanted a tomato where the watermelon had completely dried up. I just wasn't thinking about the edges. Bear's orphan squash almost died, but I've been watering it almost every day. Now over on the side where I planted the one cherry tomato because my wife told me I shouldn't plant any cherry tomatoes, I mulched with grass and it's held the water pretty well. The cantaloupe is on the downhill side. Moisture goes with gravity. They're in the mulchaways. They have not suffered with this heat. I've not had to water them much at all. A majority of the plants in the center of the mulch, we've not had to give any water to. We did get a rainstorm. We didn't get very much rain out of it, but we have had some rain.
So once again, you gotta let your plants tell you what they need. If they're looking puny, get some water on them. And if you have some thin spots in your mulch, go ahead and add some grass, add some hay, whatever you have available, just thicken it up a little bit. Remember, that's the other thing I was talking about. You'll think you have it really thick and the worms will work it down very quickly. The edges dry out very quickly. That's one of the reasons we don't put our crop right at the edge. And then I go ahead and violate that rule right off the bat. I told you I'm a hobbyist. This is my second year. We're learning. And I also told you I'd show you the good with the bad. So if you need to water, don't be afraid to water. I'm not sure if the manises have hatched yet, and I have lost 2 or 3 squash plants, but the harvest is great. I'm gonna pick a little more. We're gonna make bread and butter zucchini spears. I think that's something we made up, but we sure like them. If you find any of this information helpful, please subscribe. There's a Let's Plant icon right down on the corner. Just run your cursor over it. Made it easy. All right, let's go pick some zucchini. Oh, here's a little one.
You can see some of the squash damage we have out here from the bugs.
But along with that, there's one. Here's one. Those aren't too bad.
Oh my goodness. There might be one down in there.
Look what we got here. Nice twist. That's a 6-pound zucchini. These are pickling cukes, so they're not going to get too big. A whole bunch of them. They sure are sweet if you peel them and eat them. I think I have enough that we're going to make the first batch of
bread and butter pickles.
Now that me and Riley got a 6-pound zucchini, what we're gonna make is spears and bread and butter pickles. Some of you out there are old enough to remember people that made it through the Depression. They called them bread and butter pickles because that's all they had. They take a piece of bread, put butter on it, put the pickles on it. The man that taught me how to garden was born in 1918. I remember stories of the first electricity coming in, the first running water, winters with an outhouse. Of course, I was a young kid and I just rolled my eyes. But now I appreciate the hard times they've went through. But the bread and butter pickles still sure are good. All right, me and Riley are hot enough. All right, let's go in the kitchen and make some bread and butter pickles and some zucchini spears. Think we'll have fun. Come on, let's plant. Let's go plant garden.